What's going on, guys? It's your boy Duck Scout, and today we're going to be talking about Jimmy Graham and his role with the Texans. Now, Houston only had one real tight end for basically half the season, Steven Anderson. Now, Steven Anderson is a good receiving tight end, not much of a blocker. See, our main blocking tight ends, Ryan Griffin and CJ Fedorowicz, both were on the injury report for most of the year due to concussions and various other injuries. Now, Jimmy Graham being added in to replace CJ Fedorowicz, who was thinking about retiring, is a great fit for this Houston Texans offense. Why? Well, because it can create mismatches. So, Jimmy Graham can take this team and just destroy any chance of man coverage being run. So, this matchup right here, let's say that's DeAndre Hopkins against any corner you want. It doesn't really matter because he's going to burn them anyway. DeAndre Hopkins just going on a streak. Not really meant to be the main focal of this. Just like over here, Will Fuller being one-on-one with a corner on a post route isn't meant to be the main concept of this. It's meant to be basically a distraction on both sides. See, once they go up, say once Hopkins goes up here, this safety is going to peel back over here as to help with DeAndre Hopkins, an elite threat. This guy right here has got to follow Will Fuller up to his route with the corner, take everything away deep. If not, one of those guys is going to somehow get open. So let's move on to the linebacker matchups. This guy right here is going to be covering the running back who can either stay in and block, he can go out to the flats, or he can run a wheel and cut up field. Whatever that running back decides to do is going to take that middle linebacker out of the play. Now, this linebacker being on this tight end, let's say this is whatever linebacker you want versus Steven Anderson. Steven Anderson is a mismatch because the man was a college wide receiver. That indicates how quick he is. So Steven Anderson will most likely have the advantage in this matchup. Steven Anderson is going to be coming across the field and just going all the way until he hits the sideline. Now, look at this matchup. This is going to be Jimmy Graham again against whatever linebacker you want to make it. And he's going to be doing the same exact thing just to the opposite side. Now, for this basic crossing route concept, it's meant to give those tight ends an easy advantage on those linebackers. Because Steven Anderson's too quick for a linebacker and too big for a safety. Jimmy Graham, too quick for a linebacker, too big for a safety. They're going to beat their man. And let's say these linebackers are able to cover everything perfectly. And DeAndre and Fuller, they're just shut down by these four players. Deshaun Watson can run. Deshaun Watson can just take off because the linebackers are going to be outside, all three of them. And then the corners and safeties are all going to be deep, covering Fuller and Hopkins. So there's going to be no one to cover Watson if he decides to run. So things like this is why the Texans need to bring Jimmy Graham in. Those mismatches. It might not seem like much, but in a chess match, when you make your opponent think you're even going to do something, it can change the entire game.